There's something I need to tell you, something that might sting at first, but will set you free. The distance between your goals and your achievements is spelled with one word: discipline. Not talent, not luck, not timing. Discipline. It's the reason the successful keep rising while others give up. It's what transforms wishful thinking into action and action into results. And here's the truth. No one wants to admit, until you master discipline, your potential will always stay locked behind the door of excuses. This is your wake-up call. This is where everything begins to change. I used to wonder why some people with less talent, less experience, and fewer resources kept winning. They didn't have the best education. They weren't the smartest in the room. But they had one thing I didn't: discipline. They showed up every single day. When it was boring, when it was hard, when no one clapped, they showed up. And slowly, I realized that the gap between me and them wasn't intelligence or opportunity. It was consistency. They had built discipline into a system, and that system ran their life. Not emotion, not mood, not convenience. Discipline became their structure, their protection, their secret weapon. And once I saw that, I knew I had to stop chasing hacks and start building habits. We've been sold a lie, that we need to feel motivated before we act. But discipline doesn't wait for motivation. Discipline moves first. Motivation is emotional. It comes and goes. Some days you feel it, most days you don't. Discipline is a decision. It says, I do it anyway. It doesn't ask how you feel. It asks what you committed to. It doesn't care if you're tired, distracted, uninspired. It only wants to know, did you follow through? The most successful people in the world aren't always the most motivated. They're the most disciplined. They act before they feel ready. They act when no one's watching. They act until results start chasing them. And that's the shift. You stop living by how you feel and start living by what you've chosen. Discipline isn't something you find. It's something you build, one choice at a time. It doesn't start big. It starts small. You wake up a little earlier. You say no to the easy option. You write the page, take the walk, have the uncomfortable conversation. And each time you follow through, you reinforce the identity. I'm someone who does what they said they would do. That's where real self-confidence comes from. Not hype, not likes, not approval, but from showing up for yourself over and over again. The secret to changing your life? Keep the promises you make to yourself. Even the small ones. Especially the small ones. That's how you build integrity. That's how you build momentum. That's how you build the kind of life people admire and wonder how you created. The enemy of greatness isn't failure. It's comfort. Comfort keeps you where you are. It whispers, you're fine, even when your potential is screaming to grow. Discipline pushes past comfort. It says, I know this is hard. I know this hurts, but I'm doing it anyway. And every time you override comfort, you take back control. You stop being ruled by impulse. You stop negotiating with your excuses. You stop lowering your standards just to make things feel easier. You rise. And the more you choose discomfort with purpose, the stronger you become. Not just physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. You stop fearing resistance and start feeding off of it. That's when the game changes. Not when things get easy, but when you get stronger. Here's the secret no one teaches you. Every time you act with discipline, you cast a vote for the kind of person you want to be. And enough votes, they form your identity. You're not just someone who wakes up early. You're disciplined. You're not just someone who trains. You're consistent. You're not just someone who budgets. You're responsible. The action is the habit. The habit is the system. The system becomes you. And this is why discipline isn't about control, it's about freedom. When you build discipline, you free yourself from old stories, toxic cycles, and past versions of you. You become the author again. And you write a new story, one action at a time. Let me tell you something. Powerful discipline is self-respect in action. Every time you show up for yourself, You reinforce the belief that you are worth the effort. You are worth the early morning. You are worth the clean meal. You are worth the focus, the structure, the sacrifice. People think self-love is all bubble baths and affirmations. But real self-love is doing what needs to be done, especially when it's hard. It's being the parent to your future self. It's saying, "I've got you," even when the present moment tempts you to quit. That kind of love doesn't fade. It builds, and it builds a version of you that no longer doubts, delays, or self-sabotages. Because you've proven you can trust yourself. Discipline is the multiplier. It's the force that takes average effort and multiplies it into extraordinary results over time. You don't need massive change. You need small action, repeated with discipline, every single day. One glass of water becomes a healthy body. One daily workout becomes a fit lifestyle. 1 hour of focused work becomes a business. One honest conversation becomes a healed relationship. Discipline compounds. It's not sexy, it's not flashy, but it works. And the best part, it works for anyone. No matter your background, your setbacks, your pain, discipline levels the playing field. It turns effort into excellence. It turns vision into evidence. And it turns dreams into deliverables. You won't always see the results immediately. That's the hard part. You'll wake up early and feel like nothing changed. You'll eat clean and not see the scale move. You'll work for hours and still feel behind. That's when most people quit. But discipline keeps you going, even when the rewards aren't visible. Because discipline knows the invisible always becomes visible if you stay the course. That's why the strongest people don't need applause. They don't chase likes. They don't demand recognition. They know what they're building. They know it's working, even if the world can't see it yet. And one day, everyone will. If you rely on motivation, you'll always be inconsistent. But if you build momentum, you'll become unstoppable. Momentum comes from action, from doing it once, then again, until it becomes who you are. It doesn't matter how small you start. Momentum doesn't care about intensity. It cares about frequency. One day of action won't change your life. But 100 days in a row, that's transformation. And here's what no one tells you. Momentum creates motivation, not the other way around. So stop waiting to feel ready. Start moving, and let the motion build the mindset. The moments that define you the most are the ones no one sees. When you do the right thing without recognition, when you keep going with no applause, when you hold the standard, even in silence, that's discipline in the dark. And it's where greatness is born. Because the spotlight doesn't make you great. It reveals whether you've been doing the work. If you wait to be seen before you act, you'll never rise. But if you're disciplined when no one's watching, you'll be unstoppable when they are. Train in the shadows, and when the time comes, you won't need to shine. You'll already be glowing. There will come a moment where you're tempted to quit, where the voices in your head say it's not working, that it's taking too long, that maybe you're not cut out for it. That's the pivot point. And what you do there, that's everything. Most people turn back. They retreat. They fold. But the ones who win, they double down on discipline. They say, "I don't need results yet. I need alignment." And they keep going. Because they know the breakthrough isn't after more motivation. It's after more obedience. You don't need a new path. You need a new level of commitment to the one you're already on. The moment you master discipline, you become dangerous. Not to others, but to your limitations, to your excuses, to your laziness, to your old patterns. Discipline doesn't just make you consistent. It makes you focused. It makes you sharp. It makes you relentless. People start asking, "What happened to you?" And the answer is simple. You stopped waiting. You stopped hoping someone else would fix it. You stopped outsourcing your future to luck or chance. And you started showing up, fully, decisively, without compromise. That's the moment your life begins to change for good. Every act of discipline is a gift you send to your future self. It's the reason they'll breathe easier. It's the reason they'll walk with confidence. It's the reason they'll be free. You're not just showing up for today, you're investing in who you're becoming. That's legacy. Not just in what you leave behind, but in how you carry yourself now. So every workout, every boundary, every hour of focused work, it's not just for today's gain. It's for tomorrow's peace. Your future self will thank you. Your family will thank you. Your life will prove it. Keep depositing. Keep trusting. Keep showing up. The payoff is already on its way. Whatever you repeat, you reinforce. Repeat weakness, and it becomes your identity. Repeat excuses, and they become your truth. But repeat discipline, and it becomes your character. Most people think they're stuck because they lack talent, but the real reason is they've reinforced the wrong routines. Start small. Repeat truth. Repeat strength. Repeat action. And over time, your brain, your body, and your life start catching up. You are what you consistently do. So do what builds you. Not just once, but again and again until it becomes who you are. Discipline isn't a tool. It's a relationship. It's the way you treat yourself when no one's around. It's how you speak to yourself when things go wrong. It's how committed you are to what you said long after the emotion is gone. Discipline isn't just about action. It's about honesty. It asks, can I trust myself? And if the answer is yes, everything else becomes possible. Because when you trust yourself, you stop stalling. You stop waiting for permission. You stop shrinking when the moment calls for boldness. You rise, not because you feel ready, but because you're loyal to your word. That's power. And discipline is how you claim it. Let me break it down. You win by waking up when you said you would. You win by following through when it would be easier to quit. You win by tracking your habits, protecting your energy, and choosing long-term gain over short-term pleasure. You win by saying no more often, no to distractions, no to comparison, no to just this once. You win by building a life that doesn't need to be escaped. And that kind of life? It's built with discipline. Brick by brick, choice by choice, day by day. You don't need luck. You don't need perfect timing. You need consistency. And that's how you win. Discipline doesn't shout. It whispers. It doesn't demand attention. It earns respect. While others brag, discipline builds. While others stall, discipline acts. While others post, discipline produces. It's not glamorous, but it's the foundation of everything that lasts. And over time, it outpaces talent, intelligence, even passion. Because those things fade. Discipline doesn't. It keeps going. Quietly, powerfully, relentlessly. And one day, the world will notice. Not because you asked them to, but because you've become undeniable. Confidence isn't built by hype. It's built by history. By knowing you've been consistent. By remembering the times you showed up, even when it was hard. That's why discipline creates unshakable confidence. Because it gives you receipts. You don't need to fake it. You've lived it. Confidence rooted in discipline can't be stolen. It's not based on mood or praise. It's based on action. And when your confidence comes from action, you're not arrogant. You're anchored. And that version of you, that version changes rooms, conversations, and outcomes. Not because you say much, but because your presence says it all. You've got vision, you've got ambition, you've got goals. But here's the truth. Without discipline, they're just dreams. Vision without discipline is delusion. Discipline is what turns that vision into a plan and that plan into execution. It breaks the big picture into daily action. It turns someday into today. It makes the extraordinary possible, not by magic, but by showing up. Again and again, especially when you don't feel like it. Your vision deserves structure. It deserves consistency. It deserves a version of you that can be trusted with it. And discipline is how you become that version. If you grew up around inconsistency, chaos, or people who quit on themselves, you've got something to prove. Not to them, to you that you won't repeat the cycle, that you'll be the one who keeps their word, that you'll be the one who breaks the pattern. And how do you do that? With discipline. You don't need to scream. You don't need to fight. You don't need revenge. You need a routine, a morning routine, a money routine, a mindset routine. Discipline isn't just for the ambitious. It's for the cycle breakers, the ones who say, "It ends with me," and then show up like they mean it. You think you're tired? You're not tired. You're undisciplined. When your life lacks structure, everything takes more energy. Decisions drain you. Distractions chase you. Chaos exhausts you. But discipline, it creates capacity. When you have systems, you don't waste energy on the basics. You don't negotiate with every task. You don't react to everything around you. You move with clarity. You move with order. That order gives you room to grow, lead, serve, build. Structure creates freedom, and freedom creates impact. But it all starts with one thing: discipline. The more you master it, the more space you create for what matters most. Motivation is loud. It yells. It hypes. It fades. But discipline? Discipline whispers. It reminds you of who you said you'd become. It reminds you that your feelings are temporary, but your future is permanent. Motivation is fun when it's there, but it's unreliable. Discipline is always available. You don't need to wait for a mood swing to change your life. You need a system, a schedule, a standard. And the moment you switch from chasing highs to honoring habits, that's the moment you take control. Because when discipline becomes your default, you don't have to feel like it. You just do it anyway. And that's what separates the amateurs from the professionals, the wishers from the builders, the talkers from the ones who are too busy executing to explain. You want to attract better people, better results, better opportunities? Get more discipline. Excellence recognizes excellence. When you operate with discipline, the right people take notice. The right mentors want to help. The right clients want to work with you. The right relationships begin to form. Why? Because discipline signals reliability. And in a world full of chaos, people crave someone who's consistent. You don't need to brag about your progress. Your discipline speaks louder than words ever could. And it draws in the next level of your life not because you begged for it, but because you became the kind of person who belongs there. Discipline creates gravity, and gravity pulls greatness toward you. People wait for big wins to feel like they're making progress. But discipline teaches you the truth. Small wins create big change. Waking up early, finishing what you started, choosing water over soda, turning off the distractions. They may seem small, but stacked together, over weeks and months, they rebuild you. They rewire your self-image. They reshape your identity. They redefine what's possible. Don't underestimate the power of small, repeated discipline. It doesn't just change your behavior, it transforms your belief. And that belief, that's what will carry you through the days when progress feels slow. Because you won't need proof to keep going. You'll already know who you are. Discipline is a language. And when you speak it fluently, life starts to respond differently. Doors open. People listen. Respect increases. Because discipline speaks for you. It says, I can be trusted. It says, I finish what I start. It says, I don't need to be watched to be excellent. You don't need to explain yourself when your actions do the talking. You walk into rooms differently. You command space differently. Not because you're arrogant, but because your discipline has shaped your presence. And that kind of presence can't be faked. It's earned, one decision at a time. Discipline gives you more than results. It gives you peace. You no longer second-guess yourself. You no longer feel pulled in 100 directions. You no longer waste time wondering, what if? Because you know what you're building. You know what you stand for. You know what matters. That clarity, that focus, it makes life simpler. Not easier, but simpler. Discipline removes the noise. It eliminates the excess. It protects your energy. And when you stop leaking energy everywhere, you start moving faster, thinking clearer, sleeping better. Not because life got lighter, but because you got stronger. At the end of your life, people won't remember everything you said. They'll remember how you lived. Discipline leaves evidence. It's in the way you show up, the way you finish what you start, the way you handle pressure. And the greatest evidence? Peace. Because disciplined people don't live in chaos. They don't need to prove themselves. They don't live reactive lives. They don't get tossed by every emotion. They live centered, aligned, grounded. That kind of life? It's not just inspiring. It's rare. And rare becomes magnetic. So if you want your life to speak lit, it's speak through your discipline. Discipline doesn't mean you never rest. It means you rest with purpose. It doesn't mean you never mess up. It means you don't quit when you do. It doesn't mean you're cold or rigid. It means you care too much to let your emotions run your life. Discipline is love in action. Love for your vision. Love for your people. Love for the version of you that refuses to settle. It's not punishment, it's permission. Permission to live fully, lead boldly, and build something that lasts. Discipline isn't a burden. It's a gift. And the moment you stop resisting it, you'll finally feel what real freedom is made of. So here's the final word. You are no longer someone who breaks their own promises. You are no longer someone who waits to feel ready. You are no longer someone who starts strong and fades out. That was the old you. The new you? You're disciplined. You move with clarity. You speak with intention. You act with courage. You don't need to be the loudest. You don't need to explain. You just live the standard and let the results speak. From this day forward, let it be known. Discipline isn't something you do. It's who you are. Live it and let the world adjust. And if someday you look back and wonder when everything changed, this was the moment you stopped, the moment you stopped hoping, the moment you stopped bargaining with your future. You committed. You decided that discipline wouldn't just be a phase but a foundation. And that single choice, it rewrote your entire story. You no longer wait for motivation. You no longer play small. You no longer shrink when the pressure rises. You lean in. You move forward. You rise up. Because discipline didn't just improve your life. It became the reason you started truly living it. So don't stop. Let every step reinforce the identity you've built. Let every repetition sharpen the edge. Let every day be another line in the story you'll one day tell with pride. I didn't wait for my life to change. I showed up and changed it myself. Let this be your reminder. Discipline is your advantage. When others make excuses, you take action. When others delay, you decide. When others get distracted, you double down. And that edge it compounds. You're no longer hoping for better days. You're building them. You're no longer reacting to life. You're directing it. Every day you stay consistent, you're proving that ordinary habits can lead to an extraordinary life. Not someday. Now. So keep going. The world may not understand your pace, but they will see your results. And when they ask how you did it, you'll say, I didn't rely on talent or luck. I relied on discipline. And that made all the difference. From this moment forward, your story is different. You're not just chasing goals, you're becoming someone goals chase. You're not just reacting to life, you're designing it. You're not just dreaming, you're demonstrating. Every habit, every hour, every hard decision, they're forming the legacy that only discipline can build. And the person who shows up consistently, even when no one is watching, that person always wins. Let that be you. Today, tomorrow, every day after. Not because you have toe, but because you've become the kind of person who wouldn't live any other way. So here's your permission slip, accept. You don't need one. You don't need anyone to validate your process. You don't need a perfect plan or ideal conditions. You just need to decide. And once you do, the rest is execution. Messy, imperfect, but consistent. That's how real change happens. Discipline isn't about getting it right every time. It's about getting back up faster than you fall. And that bounce back, that's your power. Because it's not the person who never stumbles who wins. It's the one who always returns to the path stronger, clearer, hungrier. That's you now. So finish strong. You're not done yet, but you're closer than ever. Discipline isn't something you turn on and off. It's something you live. And the longer you live it, the more unshakable you become. The world gets noisy, you stay locked in. The pressure builds, you breathe deeper. The storm comes, you've trained for it. Because discipline isn't just about routine, it's about resilience. And right now, more than ever, that resilience matters. You have a life to build, a future to protect, a standard to honor. And today you rose to meet it. So walk forward knowing this. You didn't just listen, you committed. And the life that comes next, it belongs to you now. Own it. Because this isn't just a message, it's a movement. And the movement starts with one choice, one habit, one shift in identity. You no longer need permission to be great. You no longer need perfect conditions to take action. You have everything you need right now: discipline, focus, and the courage to begin again. So don't wait for a better moment. This is the moment, and it's yours.